Hello folks, today will be the first video of many for the game of Runes of Ede. This game has 4 factions, and I will be breaking down each faction with their own video. But to jump in on the first one to get you an idea of what is to come in the future, we'll start with here on the left. We have the Mystics, and then we have the Savage. Mystics are purple, Savage is red, Intellects are blue, and Marvels, you could go bronze, gold. They're the main factions for this game. I currently have base set 1. It's a pretty hefty box full of cards. I also got promos. Each faction comes with one mythic ability available. The promos I have shinies of these. Each faction comes with their own non-shiny. It's hard to tell in this light, but the Marvels is the shiny one, and the Mystics is the non-shiny. I also got a shiny Rune Shift, a Bale Transcendent Marvel, and an Archive Editor. Also included in the box is a handful of these tokens, these Savage Warrior tokens. And then we have what I would classify as vanilla cards. They are not aligned with any faction per se. Cost is 3. Cost will be up top. If they're with a faction and you need special number of runes to pay for your card, it'll be down below the numbers. As an example, I will take the Way of the Marvels. Its cost is 3. You need at least 2 of their own runes to pay toward the cost of the card. For these vanillas, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 copies of Rune Robber. It's a unit, 2,000 power. When you play, you can exile 2 cards from your discard pile. When removed, draw 1, drop 1. Drop is the equivalent of discarding. So with this guy, when he's removed, you will draw a card and then you will discard 1. Six copies of Rune Desecrator. It is also a unit, 3,000 power, a big whopping 7 cost. This says play lock. Anything that has a lock in front of any keyword is a must-use ability. You don't get the option of passing on the ability or not. You have to play it. Excuse me. This one says, when played, each player puts a rune they control on the bottom of their stockpile. Each player destroys a unit they control that costs 6 or less. I have 6 Rune Shift non-foil. It's an event. Return a rune you control to your stockpile. Search your stockpile for any rune and put it into play. Then shuffle your stockpile. So units will be your fighters and events will be basically your spells. And to round out the extra cards is 6 copies of Archive Editor, which is also a unit. He costs 3. When played, recover 3. Then shuffle your archive. Each player draws 1. Since this is my opening video, I'll go down some of the rules. To lose the game, You take 9 damage from your runes. There is a damage pile above your rune pile. And anytime you take damage, you will flip 1 rune or more into your damage pile. Once you get 9, you lose the game. If you run out of cards in your archive or your stockpile, you lose the game. Your stockpile is where you keep your runes, and your archive is your main deck. Lately, I've been seeing this in most card games. The golden rule is that if a card contradicts any rules in their rule book, the card takes precedence, and you follow what the card says, not what the rules say. Some cards have a triggered effect. Triggered effects are typically denoted with an underlined keyword on the card itself. There are some restrictions that must be taken. Like I said, if there is a lock icon in front of them, it's a must and not, I don't want to do this, I'm not going to do it. Then the ancient runes is you can have up to 9 copies in your deck. No more than 3 copies of a given ancient rune, which you will see later on other videos. And you're also going to see cards with many different mechanics. For example, Devastate. If at any time a unit with Devastate hits your opponent, they will break 3 runes instead of 1. Critical is breaks 2 runes instead of 1. And that just means take your top card of your stockpile and put it in your damage zone. A deck is a minimum of 40 cards. Your stockpile is 18. And like I said, if you want to add ancient runes, it's up to 9. 3 copies of each. There are cards that have a lightning symbol next to their ability, or actually I say their type. I'll pull these 2 up here real quick. The Way of the Marvels. Let's see if I can get a better picture. There's going to be what looks like a lightning bolt on either side of what kind of card it is. That means you can play that on your turn or your opponent's turn. And then you just have a regular event card, which can be only played on your turn. Your turn structure goes as you ready up, which is to untap anything that's been tapped from your last turn. Your stockpile step, which means you place your top card of your stockpile into your rune source, and then you will draw your card. Let's see. Overwhelm is an ability that if you have a unit that attacks for higher power, let's just take here, since I got them out handy. Let's just say Archive Editor had Overwhelm. It's 2,000. Your opponent is using this warrior token, which has 1,000. So therefore, it only hits for 1,000. So there's 1,000 left. That'll go to your opponent, and they will take damage and lose a rune or broken, and they would take a point of damage. Bounce is an effect which places a card from play back into its owner's hand. Counter effects which counter stop specific cards or effects from interacting with the game. There are several types of countering which could happen during the game. You can counter an event, a unit, or an effect. Critical. That was a keyword. Many units throughout the game that does the 2 instead of the 1 for the damage. A unit with critical is considered to have the text constant. If this unit deals damage to a player while attacking, that player breaks 2 runes instead of 1. I went over Devastate. Devastate is 3 runes instead of 1. Draw. You'll draw the number of cards next to it. Like draw 3, you'll draw 3 cards. Drop is always accompanied by a number. Put cards from your hand into your discard pile. If for some reason you need to exile cards, you will exile them to a removed from game zone, which you can have anywhere. Mastery. A unit with mastery is considered to have the constant text of the first time you play an event during your turn, exhaust target unit. Exhaust is basically to tap down a card, which they will not be able to use it on your turn. If you have one of the lightning units that has mastery on it, you could basically tap your opponent's unit on their turn instead of yours. Keyword of might as the constant. The first time each turn this unit destroys another unit, put a plus 1000 power counter on this unit. I will also be going through all these keywords again when I go through each faction. Mill X, which means put the top cards of your archive into their discard pile. This might be you. This might be your opponent. Overwhelm. We just went over that. Overwhelm is any excess damage is dealt to the player. Rage. Rage is your unit may attack on the turn it comes into play. If your unit is a Reaper, put a negative 1000 power counter on target unit. Recover. When a player recovers, put the target card or cards from that player's discard pile at the bottom of their archive. If more than one card is recovered at once, that player chooses the order on which the cards are added. Research. Research is you go to the top cards of your archive. Then you may put those cards on the top or bottom in any order. Restore. When a player restores, put the targeted cards from your discard pile into your hand. Revive is you put the units from the discard pile into play under your control. Rummage. With the top X cards of your archive, they may then reveal a card that matches the type listed on the effect and add that card to their hand. Then any remaining cards you rummage through are placed on the bottom of your archive in the order of your choice. If your unit has Warden, they will have the constant text of this unit cannot attack. Stockpile instructions. As I've went over many times, stockpile must be exactly 18 runes. You may have up to 9 total ancient runes. You may only have up to 3 copies of each specific ancient rune by name in your stockpile. Any remaining spots in your stockpile must be filled with basic runes. There's a short rundown of keywords, some small rules of the game, some quick definitions of stuff you are going to see in the future. Showed off some nice promos that you can reach on their website. And on the back of the box, might have to move my camera here. On the back of the box, it says, "What is Runes of Ede? Expandable card game." In Runes of Ede ECG, players will pore over the pages within the archives of the Forgotten Planet, transporting them into the middle of the fight where they will harness their own stockpile of runes, alongside their favorite characters on a quest to destroy the enemy's stockpile before they have a chance to destroy yours. Runes of Ede uses innovative and expressive mechanics to provide a tabletop tour into the adorable, fierce world of Ede. Take just a few minutes to learn and a grand adventure to master. From the kitchen table to grand finals, players will make memories that last a lifetime. In this box, which I will go over, like I said before, faction by faction, 3 of each event and unit card, 5 of each ancient rune that each faction has, 13 basic runes of each faction, 6 generic unit and event cards, which we just went over, 8 savage tokens, and 4 mythical ability tokens. So the 4 ability tokens are these things. The 8 savage warrior tokens. If I held that up far enough and long enough, you can scan the QR code. If it works, that's great. If not, just go to Runes of Ede and you'll be able to find their page. Nice shout out goes to Get Good Games for giving me the chance to showcase this game on my channel here. And I hope to look forward to future sets from these guys. I have noticed that they are playtesting some new cards for a future release. I have not heard a date of when. Definitely check out their Facebook page. And I will start on the factions in my next video. And good night.